Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to Planters Knowledge Podcast. I know my eyes are jumping all over the place, but that's because I'm going live on different spaces and places. So I want to make sure everybody's turned on so that they will be able to participate in this fantastic interview. If this is your first time to Planters Knowledge, let me just tell you this is a space where I interview authors. We talk about their author's journey. We talk about the different genres. And you can go on to my YouTube page, Ask Dr. Walls 525. Look underneath my playlist for Planters Knowledge Pop-Up Vodcast, and you will be able to replay the author interviews. Now, anybody that's ever joined any of my shows already knows. For those who are new, make sure you have your pen and paper ready because all my guests are always dropping some information for you. As I have a saying, which is catch and carry, right? I want to make sure that you catch these important pieces of information. I refer to them as greater seeds so that you can then carry them, nurture them, plant them, and get them to grow. All right. So without further ado, I'm super excited to have our guest on today, author Karol Brown. So let's welcome her. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know, I like to give
You?
people a good tambourine welcome.
I like that.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You are welcome. How are you doing today?
Great energy starting.
Yes, yes, gotta bring it.
Yes, yes.
So how are you today?
I'm doing great. This is a beautiful Friday, and I'm so happy to be here with you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, please tell the people a little about yourself. Give them about your background, and then we'll jump into your author's journey.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Dayton, Ohio. For people who don't know anything about Dayton, that's where the Wright brothers were from, and that's
Mm.
where Paul Laurence Dunbar was from.
Oh, come
Ohio
on.
Players.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So I come from a little small city, not too far between like Cincinnati and Columbus, born
Okay.
and raised there. Then my husband James and I moved our family of three children to Washington State in 87.
Boy,
And
that's a jump.
that was a jump, yeah. There I am. That's where I am back here now. I'm back in Washington. I was back
Okay.
in Ohio for a while. I just moved back to Washington and I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy to be here. This feels more like home now.
Okay.
Yes, I worked with the VA hospital as a dietitian for
Mm-hmm.
30 years here in the Seattle area.
Okay.
I was also a program manager for a weight loss program, and I was the African American coordinator for special events or EEO, Equal Opportunity and Federal
Mm-hmm.
Women's Program.
Mm-hmm.
And that part of that was doing special programs for like Black History Month and
Okay.
MLK Women's History Month. I was also active in
Okay.
Toastmasters
Yes.
speaking crew. And
Yes.
that's where I learned I love to tell stories.
Oh, look at how that all ties together. Okay.
Let's tie together. And during one year, I was planning for Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the movie with Cicely Tyson
Mm-hmm.
playing Harriet Tubman.
Yes, yes.
She had a quote of a parable in there that I'd never heard before. Because, what we learned about Harriet Tubman is like
So
that much
small.
information,
Yeah.
that we can learn about the Underground Railroad. But I found out so much more. I said, I need to research her. I
Hmm.
want to do that parable for Black History Month.
Yes.
And when I started learning about Harriet, I just fell deep in love with
Wow.
respect
Yeah.
and just astounded at how much people don't know about her.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Mm-hmm.
became my um, second love, other than I enjoyed my work that I did, but this is what I did on the side, teaching
Yeah.
people about Harriet, going to schools, churches, on stage, just different places. My husband James,
Wow.
we traveled. We traveled about since 2020. Start
Mm-hmm.
2020 is when we started traveling.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, but then I decided to write a book about her.
That's Well, I'm gonna stop you just for a moment because I love the fact that this happened recently. A
Mhm.
lot of times people think that when you're an author or someone like Harriet Tubman, this was something that you had an interest in for so many years prior. But you're saying this just happened almost, I use the word loosely, on a whim, in the fact that you heard it, it resonated with you, it activated obviously something that you had a predisposition for that you didn't know that you had one for.
Right, exactly. That was the inspiration that just started me feeling that my part of my mission in life was to
Mm-hmm.
share her story.
Mm.
Yeah, and so I have two books I wrote about her,
Mm-hmm.
and they both have to deal with teaching love, leadership, and legacy.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. And what made you, so I have actually, I'm proud to say I have I believe I have all of them. So I have,
Yes, that's the
right?
first one, 30 Lessons in Love Leadership from Harriet Tubman.
Yes, then I have,
Yeah, Harriet Tubman Way. That's the most recent book. Yes, and the workbook
and
goes with that. You're
yes.
there.
Yes. So, how did you decide? What made you say, okay, I'm going to focus on love, leadership, and legacy?
Not just so the first book, after doing plenty of research, people ask, a lot of people do Harriet Tubman.
Mm-hmm.
Some are actors and they perform a script. I can
Yes.
always consider myself a storyteller because
Okay.
it may not come out the same way every time.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
played her as a 92-year-old woman. She's
Mm-hmm.
only 93. That's one thing most people don't realize.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yes. And I read every book I could find about
Wow.
her. In other words, and then after a while, it became same information, same information. But
Mm-hmm.
I have
Mm-hmm.
felt so much closer to Harriet as far as the person within. Who
Yeah.
was this little girl?
Yes.
Her name was Araminta when she was born. They call her
Mm-hmm.
Minty. She was born in about 1821, 22
Okay.
in Maryland, Eastern Shore, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
This little girl, parents were slaves,
Mm-hmm.
grandparents were slaves. How did she feel like that she could
Yes.
be free one day?
Yes.
So I said it had to come from within.
Yes.
So I set out to give a new vision of the respect for Harriet Tubman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what she did, but how did she do it? It
Mm-hmm.
was her love. I say first she had to love herself.
Mm-hmm.
That love for herself was also led to compassion for others.
Mm-hmm.
When she got free, she went back,
Mm-hmm.
not just for her own family, but for any Black person there in her
Yes.
neighborhood who wanted freedom. She was
Yes.
ready to take them up north.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, and then servant leadership. She was a servant leader
Big
and
time.
big time. So I really realized that looking at different leadership styles, and that a servant leader is one who first is all about providing a service to
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
That service that she provided, she developed into a leader. She became a
Mm-hmm.
leader that showed the way for many, many,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that left her a legacy. That left us
Yeah.
a legacy of her
Yeah.
life, her stories. So that's what the concept. So what I did was write these books in first person as if you were hearing me tell this.
Got you. Yes.
And they're very short chapters. I
Mm-hmm.
wrote them for young people to be able to read.
Yes.
And they're also curriculums. So
Yes.
they're used to teach a concept one at a time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. I loved it as I was going through it, and I love workbook style journals. My first two books are 100% workbook style journals. Food for thought, then some questions. Food for thought, then some questions. And to your point, making it short, bite size, enough for someone to be able to eat, consume, digest, right? And then apply it. What are some things that I need to do? How do I make this applicable to my life? How do I make it relatable? And it sounds like that's what happened during your research. Harriet became, and I feel, I don't even feel right calling her Harriet. I felt Miss Tubman became relatable to you.
So in my programs, I become Aunt Harriet.
Okay.
Her in after she escaped from slavery, was in Philadelphia area, New Jersey, New York. She ended up going up to Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and then she settled in Auburn, around Auburn, New York.
Mm-hmm.
And in that area, she was known as Aunt Harriet, and
Okay.
that's where she spent the bulk of her
Yes.
in that area. So when I do my presentations, you come to visit Aunt Harriet.
Okay. Well, you let me know when you want me to show the video, and I'll pop it on at any time.
Okay, so Harriet, Aunt Harriet was a person who loved to tell stories. People don't realize she was an abolitionist.
Mm-hmm.
So once she was free, she was out on the speaker circuit. She was out giving speeches in private homes,
Mm.
rich people homes. John Brown,
Oh, wow.
he was a friend of hers, and he took her to homes to lawyers and doctors,
Mm-hmm.
newspaper men. He and Frederick Douglass, who introduced her to John Brown. And so I picked up on that Harriet was a very intelligent woman.
Yes.
And she also was able to communicate in her own style. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
part of what I want to teach is that the individual gifts that we have,
Yes.
that self-love is tapping
Yes.
into the individual gifts that we have. And
Mm-hmm.
she was able to do what she did because she knew what she was capable. She
Yes.
knew that she was guided
Yes.
by God. She trusted. She
Mm-hmm.
had faith. And that's what you get when you have this self love. And so
Yeah.
that's why that is my focus point on what I do these days.
Yes.
So the second book was more recent, basically more recent. I was
Mm-hmm.
published in 2021.
Yes.
I wrote that after some major changes in my own life.
Okay.
And I have another book to share with you. This one's called Live, Love, and Prosper.
Oh.
Now, this is not me by myself.
Yes.
This is a group of 30 authors who care. And in this book, we share a chapter of our story of going through life's challenges,
Mm-hmm.
overcoming different things.
Yes.
And so I wasn't able to write the second book until after I had gone through some life challenges.
Understood.
So my husband James and I moved back to Ohio in
Mm-hmm.
2016, 2015, the end of 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And that's after we moved back, that's when things changed in our relationship. We've been together since we were in high school.
Oh, wow.
But something changed, and James became abusive
Oh.
mentally and physically.
Mm-hmm.
And I dealt with that for 6 years, nobody knowing about it, you
Wow.
know. But then I had my 100-year-old mother move in with us,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking that would help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it didn't solve the problem,
Mm-hmm.
and it came to a point that I had to find that self love in myself to say, this is not life.
That's right.
This is not going to change
Mm-hmm.
without me taking some responsibility and action on my own behalf. And so
Mm-hmm.
I had to leave my marriage.
Wow.
And it wasn't until then that I could write this book because I had started out, I kept saying I need to do a second version of the first book.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got my freedom,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
it was freedom. I was
Mm-hmm.
able to put this book together, which started as just a servant leadership book, but it warped into this self-love empowerment guide for girls.
Yeah.
And you know how it is when you write a book, then you go back to reread it, and you realize you were writing it for yourself.
Self.
Yeah, right. So yes, I have learned through my own life challenges how important it is to love yourself,
Yes.
respect yourself, and search for the peace, joy, and harmony
Mm-hmm.
inside. And
Yeah.
until you do that, your outside world is not going to reflect it.
Yeah. Carol, thank you so much for sharing that, because I mean, that's a real and raw part of several people's lives.
Yes.
And, I'm just thinking about, you got my clinical mind working now. And I'm going, wow, look at the way in which Harriet Tubman came to you and poured into you and connected with you so that you then knew how to tap into your inner power and resilience and courage and fortitude and perseverance and determination. And she just poured all of that in you so that then you were activated at the time that you needed to be activated. And just sharing this, even in this moment now, that's part of your reach back to grab somebody else. Just like she went back and grabbed and helped other people become free, you sharing your story or helping other people say, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it too. So thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome, and that's the purpose for sharing your stories is to realize you're not alone. None of us
Hmm.
are isolated, and the only person ever experienced the situation that you're
That's
in.
right.
And so, when you're able to share and show how that you are able to come through that and excel and prosper, which is what we authors who care are doing in that particular book.
Hmm.
And so, like
How did
one,
that book come about?
so I was fortunate. I'm fortunate to be a graduate. Are you familiar with Lisa Nichols?
I am.
Well, I am a recent graduate of her Certified Transformational Training
Come
Program.
on, congratulations. That's right. You knew it was coming.
Yes. That was quite an achievement. It was a year journey. So
Uh-huh.
this book includes several of us authors who were participating in
Okay.
that. It was a wonderful cohort of mostly women, but two brave men in there as well. But Zara Mahone is the person who has all these beautiful ideas, and she just knew in her heart that this was something that would make a difference in people's lives. Mahone,
Mm-hmm.
Jara Mahone, and she coordinated and brought us together. Lisa wrote the foreword. Lisa Nichols
Okay.
wrote the foreword for the book.
Nice.
So that's how it came together, and she put it
Okay.
together pretty quick. And we just, you know what's special about this? I have to share this
What's that?
because this is why this is special. We all have selected charities to dedicate
Hmm.
our proceeds to.
Really?
So we aren't earning any money off of this book at all.
Wow.
But when we sell the book and we coordinate with charities in our community,
Yes.
when we reach out to their community sponsorships or
Mm-hmm.
people who support them and get them
Mm-hmm.
on board to
Mm-hmm.
purchase or buy the book. And then
Mm-hmm.
you can imagine a nonprofit and what they have to do to make money.
Yes.
Proceeds to this book are going to the charities that we each selected.
That's fantastic. Leslie said that's awesome. I'm with you, Leslie. That's incredible.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm talking like $15.
Yeah.
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 We're not talking about $2 or $3.50. We're talking
Right.
about $15 to each book sold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I have some charities I'm working with here in Washington State. We're still working out the details, and I'm gonna be
Okay.
launching and promoting those coming up. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah,
So
that's
we'll be on the lookout for those. And
right.
where can people purchase that book as well as your other books?
I was just sending to my website, which is my name,
Okay.
dot Karol
Yes.
V for Vanessa Brown dot
Yep.
com. That'll lead you to the best to contact me through there because
Okay.
right now I'm having little issues with my store, so I need to
Mm-hmm.
get that fixed. But just contact me through there, and I can connect and tell you all about it.
Okay, so you can
Thank
get a
you.
hold of her at carolvbrown.com. Also, again, on my YouTube page in the write up, there is a link to her site as well. So you can always check that out at Ask Dr. Walls 525. All right. So, two books, well, three books, because you have your workbook. And then the fourth book is this anthology or collection of
Yeah.
authors who have come together to share their story. So, what was it like for you when you said, you know what, I think I'm going to write a book? Do you remember that moment where it was like, this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do it?
I'm always been the person that has to research, and learn how to do something right the first
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working full time. I had gone back to get my master's degree in public health.
Okay.
So I was into studying it, and I took a course in writing. Took a course. My books are considered even though my storytelling is not verbatim facts because I don't have the verbatim facts. I've considered it a nonprofit. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
nonfiction book.
Nonfiction.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so I studied nonfiction writing. I joined writers organizations and publishing organizations and learned about the publishing business and how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting enough, a really good book to recommend for somebody who wants to be a writer.
Yes.
Stephen King has an excellent book on writing.
Really? That's fantastic. All right, y'all, get it down.
Yeah,
Okay.
and one tip that I got from him is to write every day.
Mm-hmm.
He got up early, and I got up early. I would get up at to be at work at 7:30. I'll be up at 5,
Yes.
so that I can have time to write and to write every day.
Yep.
Journaling is another way. Your thoughts, get them down
Mm-hmm.
and you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what the book was going to be. It takes many varieties of edits,
Yes.
your own edits, and then someone professionally editing.
Yes. So
And you
important.
definitely want it professionally edited.
Yes. I say that all the time because sometimes people want to turn to family and friends, but I say they know your voice. And so they'll read it with you in mind. And there will be words missing, there'll be words misspelled, and there will be context that doesn't make sense to someone who doesn't know you. And
Exactly.
so it is so important that you get a professional editor. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yes.
Hmm.
And then that's the process. And then you write and you write and you write and then you rewrite, read and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. It
Hmm.
is not an overnight thing.
No.
No. And then if you have a particular, you know who you're writing it for.
Okay.
And Kathleen, so I had an opportunity, the first book, the 30 lessons, to go into a school, uh,
Hmm.
fourth and fifth graders, and I would come every week as Harriet, and they
Hmm.
each had their own book. And when I would come and do a story on a particular topic, they had prepared to teach it back in some way.
Really?
Yes. And the teacher introduced me to the little girl that I wrote the book for,
Okay. Do tell.
a little girl who was struggling in
Hmm.
family and in personal life,
Hmm.
who wasn't the greatest student, but enjoyed reading the book so much that she asked me to write more. Yeah,
Oh.
that's who I wrote it for. And
Uh-huh.
you keep that person in mind and you write for that person, then
Yes.
that's how you make the book meaningful.
Yeah. Thank you. That's such a good piece of advice for people. I know a lot of times you have people who are set, who've been told you should write a story when you're going to write your book. And, they question who wants to hear my story, or nobody wants to hear my story, or I don't know how. And you just need that piece of motivation. I know for me, my piece came in 2006. And someone asked me, when are you going to write your book? And I wasn't thinking about writing a book. That was not on my life's agenda, I didn't think. And then he said, when are you going to realize there's an audience just for you? And that statement stayed with me. Like I said, that was 2006 that he said that. I wrote my first book in 2009.
All right.
And it was just that realization. And for me, my mind went to, okay, there's an audience for Madonna, Michael Jackson, Beyonce, Prince, Celine Dion, and they can be all different people and they sell out, right? All of those stadiums are sold out. And every once in a while, you have a few people who cross over and enjoy all of those artists. But
Yes.
there's an audience for each of them. And so I said, okay, there's an audience for you, just like there's an audience for Stephen King. That's not my cup of tea, but I know Stephen King has a lot to teach from being an author, so I can listen to him. So there's a part of his story that is for me. And so I thank you for that, because here, there, this young lady, whether she ever knows or not, now has helped you help so many other people.
Yes, exactly. And I know one, I have read Stephen King, and I won't read Stephen King because he is so good. And so you want to learn from those who are really good.
That's right. It's the truth. It's, I
And
had some sisters on a couple weeks ago. One writes horror, and the other writes paranormal. Yeah, paranormal stuff. I started to say paranormal romance, but the one who writes horror, I cannot remember the person's name. She said, but basically, he out scares Stephen King. I think Stephen King said he was scared after reading this person's writing. I
oh,
said, well, see, that's one person I will not ever read, because to your point, Stephen King is so good. That's why I can't read it,
exactly.
because my mind sees it so clearly. And I'm like, I don't want those images floating in my head.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. So that's the kind of person you do want to learn from. And
Hmm.
so, yeah,
Hmm.
the good people, you want them to emulate them. And that's why Harriet is such a excellent
Yeah.
person to be mentoring someone
Hmm.
on how to find their best
Hmm.
abilities to contribute to the world. And we
Hmm.
talk about the power of one.
Mm.
She gives you the example. Even us today are benefiting on what she did, because we don't know how many of us might have ancestors, and she still has ancestors alive
Yes, yes.
who she helped be freed and brought
Oh, for
up.
sure. Yeah.
Right. And even if we don't personally, someone did. And so when and it wasn't just the Underground Railroad, she was active in the Civil War.
Come on.
I tell you what,
Hmm.
this might be a good time to show the clip. And so,
Okay.
in honor of Martin Luther King Day, I used to do a lot of Martin Luther King Day programs. And Tacoma, Washington had a big Martin Luther King Day event every year. And so,
Hmm.
fortunately, I was able to be on stage for at the King, no, Tacoma Dome,
Okay.
um, for a little short segment to present my Harriet Tubman. So, in honor of Martin Luther King Day, and it tells you a little bit more about Harriet.
Fantastic. All right. Let me make sure everything's on. And let's see. We got that there. Okay, good. We're good. And
2008.
here we go. And Carol, give me a thumbs up to let me know if you can
Oh,
hear
yeah.
it.
Oh, man.
A little low.
Okay.
I ain't never stopped working for my
Up a
people.
little more.
When that war started, I was right there in that
No
war.
low.
Sure was. I was a spy and a scout and a nurse too.
That's better.
Okay.
I know one night I was working down in South Carolina and I led a raid that helped free nearly 800 folks in one night. One night. But then after the war was over, we was all free. I still had to work and fight for my people. So did. Then we had to work for the right to vote and the right to go where we wants to go and the right to sit where you wants to sit. Did y'all know what I was talking about? So did. I was right there with Miss Susan B. Anthony. I was out there marching and speaking with the same speeches that she was in the women's suffrage movement. So what? And then when us colored folks, us women decided we need our own movement, I was right there. There with Miss Josephine Ruffin, and Miss Mary Church Terrell, Ida B., Ida Bell Wells Barnett, and my good friend Francis E.W. Harper, and me, Harriet Tubman. We found the National Association of Colored Women. And our motto was lifting as we climb. Sure enough, I was there. But I guess I was gotten too old to be marching this morning. I just came to see you children and tell y'all keep on pushing. Because the Lord, He's with you. He sure enough is. He sure enough is. But I tell you what, y'all ever come past my house? Come on and sit and spare. And I can tell you about the Underground Railroad because I sure enough know a lot about that. Sure do. But right now, Brother Eli, I guess we better go find us a good seat. That's right. That's right. Y'all take care.
My life, my freedom, all one. My life, my freedom, all one. Yeah, my life, my freedom, all one.
Thank you. Carol Brown, James Brown for sitting.
There you go.
All right. Oh, here we go. Let's see. There we go.
Right. So, yeah, she was active in the Civil War. She was in Auburn. She was part of the women's suffrage and also working with the Black women that help our own communities thrive. Harriet also was a businesswoman. People don't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
In the military, she volunteered. She was a spy, a scout, a nurse. But she also, the free women who have been slaves, who were only taught to do one thing, most she was in South Carolina, pick rice. Go pick rice. She took them into her cabin at night and taught them, and then together they made gingerbread and root beer pies, and they would go and sell them to the soldiers during the day. So they were making money. She was making money.
Yes.
Also had them start a laundry service so they could sew on buttons and clean the uniforms of the soldiers. So she had women learning how to take care of themselves and their families. And so things like that people don't realize. And then in Auburn, her home was a homeless shelter. Anybody
Really?
no place else to go, mostly elderly ex-slaves, she opened up her home to them. So yeah, and so in the setting of my program, Harriet is at the convalescent home, we call it, where she ended up living out the rest of her life. It was on property that she had purchased to provide for a home for elderly. She wasn't able to do it herself, but she gave the property to her church.
Wow.
And they were able to open it. And that's the African American Episcopal Zion Church.
Okay.
And they opened it up, and that's where she was taking care of herself until the end of her life.
Wow. And you said she lived to be 92 or 93?
93.
Wow.
Well, 93, 92, she's born 1821, 22. But we do know that she passed away on March 10th. And so that's Harriet Tubman Day, a day that I always celebrate. And this year, I hope to do something big that I hope people will join me for. So I hope they look out for more information on that.
Okay.
That's Harriet Tubman Day in my mind. Not just mine though. Even let's see, was it 1990? First George Bush president, did a official Harriet Tubman Day on March 10th.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he just like ceremonial, but
yes,
she's gonna be the first woman to have a home national holiday.
Yeah, I think so. I
Yeah,
definitely think so.
we're gonna make
And
that
rightfully so. And
and right.
rightfully
So
so,
yeah,
right? Now, you've talked about love and self-love, and you have these fantastic boxes. And let me tell y'all, I received this. I was so shocked. My husband was so funny. He's like, I know Carol. You don't know Carol. How come you getting gifts? This don't make any sense to me. I was like, look, take all of that somewhere else. Let me go. And I jumped into this box. And then I see this as soon as I open it.
and you should write your name at the top.
Okay, will
Yeah.
do.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Sharpie. I will sure enough do that.
Yes, yes.
This box is filled with so many goodies. So tell the people about this box and why. Now, I had to tell y'all, I use the stuff in my box. So some of the stuff that comes in the box when you get it ain't in my box no more. So go ahead.
Okay. I had the inspiration when I did this book that I really wanted the young girls. So my vision is that I do a workshop and then everybody in the workshop goes home with the gift box
Okay.
to remind them that they are a gift box full of all kinds of gifts that God has blessed them with. And so they get the book, there's
Yes.
a workbook, and there's
Yes.
a gratitude journal.
Yes.
Yes. So 3 books. Yes. So it's a
Mhm.
90-day gratitude journal where every day you get in the practice of just writing what you're grateful for. Yes.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm. You're welcome.
There's a mirror so you can look
Yes.
at beautiful face every day and again appreciate what you see.
Yes.
There's an ink pen so you have
Yep.
something to write with.
Yep.
There is a flower barrette
Yes.
that you can
Yes.
put on your hair.
I have mine over there. I'm looking at it. Go ahead.
That's just to remind you that if you like flowers, buy yourself some flowers.
Yes,
You
please.
do not have to wait for anyone
No, you do not.
to make you happy. You do
Yes.
it yourself.
Yes.
Then there is a little blue bracelet that says, yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Love and action. I have joined the Harriet Tubman Love and Action Starts with Me.
Yes.
I started putting 2 in there so you can share one with someone.
Okay. Oh, that's what I was supposed to do.
No, I think yours might have had 1, but
Yeah, yeah. Mine only had one, y'all.
yeah, yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
There's a pack of seeds,
Yes.
and that is symbolic of nurturing yourself.
Mhm.
Your love, self-love is a way of nurturing what you already are inside. Those
Mhm.
seeds are already that flower or
Oh,
that tree that they're going to be.
yeah.
You're already all that you are going
Yes.
to be in life.
Yes. I want
Yes.
y'all to read that. Love and
Love
bloom.
alone.
You are
Plant the
love.
seeds and love and leave your legacy. Yes.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm. You're welcome.
Then there is a little rose quartz,
Mhm. Mhm.
heart-shaped rose quartz. I'm
Yes. Yes.
into the power of of gemstones and quartz, and
Mhm.
there's everything has life in it. So that rose quartz, you wash it, put it under your pillow, and
Yes.
that helps to stimulate self.
Yep.
Yeah. What else? Then there's the scarf. Yes, that's
Mhm.
your affirmation scarf. I
Mhm.
believe in myself. I am enough. I love who I am. I love myself, my body, and my mind. I can accomplish my goals. So that's the scarf for you to keep to put on your neck, your
Mhm.
hair, whatever you want to do with it.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you. And then there is a little container of hand cream from Dove.
Yes.
That's probably used up,
It's
right?
it's empty and gone. Yes.
I put that in there for a couple of different reasons. Dove, everyone loves to take care of their body, and that's part of self care. They also have some excellent information on their website for self esteem for girls.
They sure do.
Oh, nice videos on YouTube to help explain how important it is for our girls to know who they are and have that
Mhm.
self-esteem. And
Mhm.
also one day they're going to sponsor this box too.
All right. I love it. Now, For people who are interested in purchasing a box for themselves or purchasing a box for others, where can they get the box and how much does the box retail for?
So again, contact me through my website so I can connect with them. It's $50. And
Mhm.
did I get everything in there?
Yes, that's everything.
Okay. Then I've added a couple of cards. There's a little card with angels on it. When
Mhm.
I add a little information, and the angel card is significant to me as well, as because this book cover
Mhm. Yes.
was painted by my daughter,
Oh, wow.
Dia, and so last year was a challenging year for me.
Mhm.
We actually lost Adia to cancer.
Oh, my condolences, Carol.
Thank you. But in the book, there is a link to see more of her paintings. But the angel picture that comes in the box is one of her paintings. She discovered she could paint during the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah, and she just put it out, put it out, put it out there. So
Mhm.
this was one thing I just made sure that I told her this is the older Harriet Tubman reflecting to the young Harriet Tubman
Yeah.
and giving her wisdom
Mhm.
to the younger version of her.
Mhm.
I see that as giving the wisdom that I've gained from Harriet to the younger women in,
Yeah,
in the communities.
for
Yeah,
sure. For
yes,
sure.
Leslie.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That is so beautiful on so many levels. I love the fact that she's giving back to herself, right?
Mhm,
And as you said, and the give back is giving back to the community, also recognizing the younger version of herself. I just was saying last night to someone, I said, you have to remember that we are the culmination of every age that we ever were.
mhm.
And so to be able to look back on that younger version of ourselves and be like, girl, you did it.
Yes,
Right? Oh my goodness. I know. Remember when we didn't think we were going to get through this? Remember when we didn't? But I'm here to tell you that we did. And let's heal those parts of ourselves because we did make it through.
exactly. We did make it through.
Hmm.
And in my book, one thing I haven't mentioned is that each chapter, like 2 pages at the most, each chapter opens up with a quote from somebody. And
Hmm.
there are people that you know. The first one, I have Lisa Nichols' quote in part one.
Okay.
You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be joyful. You deserve to be celebrated. But in order to do that, you must first fall madly in love with yourself.
Hmm.
I have Queen Latifah. I have Tracy Morgan. I have George Washington Carver. So each one, of Tyler Perry, Ben Okra, uh,
Hmm.
R. Burton, Pharrell Williams. And somebody said, you got a lot of men in there. But you know what? Men have just as much wisdom as women, and we
That's right.
hear from them and know that they are supportive of us as well, and we can learn from all positive comments.
Yes.
So, what I'm doing now, I'm glad to share that I have a group of women,
Hmm.
mostly older women in my age group, 60 and over, who are meeting every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're
Hmm.
going through this book chapter by chapter, and we're
Oh,
talking
nice.
about how they're going to be able to take this book to their community and work with girls
Yes.
or women who
Yes.
can benefit from hearing the stories. But like I said, it's a curriculum. They have discussion questions,
Hmm.
journaling. We
Hmm.
have creative expressions,
Yes.
all ways to really take what I'm teaching in this book and bring it inside and
Hmm.
really have it meaningful to yourself and your
Hmm.
own being. And
Yeah.
that so the curriculum is all about, it's not just a read through, and I wrote it for girls, but it's for all girls.
Yes.
I really have a vision of mothers and grandmothers and aunties and retired teachers and principals to go back and pick up the girls
Come
and
on.
lead them around and let's go through this together.
Yes.
because we have the wisdom. You know, I just lost my mother. She was
Mhm.
2 months from being 102.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, her mother
Wow.
lived to 101.
Oh my.
And if I don't pass this down,
Yes.
the wisdom that I received and that they had given me, if I don't pass it down, they're not going to learn it in school. It's
That's
not going to be on YouTube or Facebook. So
mm-mm.
that's why I really want our grandmothers, our mothers, our
Mm-hmm.
aunties to think about using this book as a way to connect with
Yes.
your grandchildren, your nieces, just your neighborhood girls,
Yes. Yes.
those who need somebody to put
Mm-hmm.
their arms around them
Mm-hmm.
and say, "You are beautiful.
Yes.
You have so much potential. It's just all about me helping you recognize that and
Mm-hmm.
you recognizing in yourself."
Mm-hmm. Well, you just told them right now, looking into the camera, and they're looking back. They looking back at you on YouTube. They looking back at you on Instagram. They looking back at you on LinkedIn, and they are taking it in. And it's such an important message to remind people that, right, they are everything that you said. They are beautiful. They do have wisdom to share. And you're
Yeah,
right, it needs to be passed on.
yes.
Now, you have there's the book, but there's also the workbook. So what's the difference between the two? Because they're both really workbooks. You're working in both of them if you're actually doing the work.
Well, the workbook is actually has empty pages for journaling.
Gotcha.
Right. And so people don't always like to write in their books. So it
Mm-hmm.
gives a review of the chapter, the empty pages where you can actually capture your thoughts.
Okay.
Hmm.
Fantastic.
And so,
Fantastic.
so it's not a book you just read through. You can't, but I want you to stop and pause
Yes.
and think about it
Yes.
and use the in a classroom sort of use the topics to generate things. And let me just read the table of content just a little bit for you.
Please do.
Love yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
Survive and make changes. Accept the person you are. Practice forgiveness. That's one of the
Mm-hmm.
most powerful ones. To practice
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Demand respect. On our Wednesday night class, when we did this one, we demand respect. We listened to Aretha. And we had fun jamming, listening to Aretha.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna talk about Aretha, Resept, and let the
Yes,
girls jam with Aretha and
that's right.
more about her story. And it's all about us having fun together, but at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, understanding that this book is actually talking to each and one of you. So
Yes.
you can understand that you too can do all that anyone else
Mm-hmm.
that you admire can do.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny that you said let's turn to the table of contents because I was going to ask you about the table of contents
Okay.
because I noticed that you have the first 12 chapters listed as love in actions.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next from chapter 13 to 25, that's listed as self empowerment. And then from chapters 26 to 34, which is part three, become a legendary servant leader.
Mm-hmm.
What made you organize the book that way? And I know people are like 35 chapters, but I need you to understand it's thin, but it's dense. Okay.
139 pages, and that's with the glossary in the back. So
Okay,
I love
fantastic.
it. Um, well, trying to put it in a way that would make sense for teaching these concepts. Now, I say you can jump around the book and do whatever way you want to teach the
Hmm.
classes, but I think once they understand what it takes and what self love is,
Yes.
and how even forgiveness is self love because you have to forgive that person and let it go.
Yes.
And that's one lesson that I say that in the book, Love, Live, Love, Prosper, that I learned out of my relationship with my husband. I had to forgive him. I never stopped loving him. I had to forgive him. And 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 that's when I had to start taking care of myself.
Yes.
So demand respect, bless others, love nature. Those are part of self-love. Empowerment is find your passion and dedicate your life to it. Listen and learn. That's learning communication skills.
Yes.
Keep the faith. Have a sense of humor. So these are just ways to help you build yourself up to be the best you can be as far as the person that you are in your own style. So chapter 16, practice communication skills. And so I have stories as Harriet Tubman videos to go along with the book.
Okay.
So that's part of my curriculum that people can engage me with in far as getting the curriculum. Have the videos to go with it. So in that particular one, it tells a story about slaves communicating through songs. And the grapevine, explaining what the grapevine was. Kissed, what's the grapevine?
Yes.
Somebody on the grapevine? There's so many things that we have in our memory and our toolbox of things that we've grown up with that they have no idea about.
Yes.
And then part 3, leaving the legend, is volunteering your service. Realize your goal with others. Bring people up.
Yes.
That's what Harriet did. Live happy with her people being enslaved.
Come on.
Go back and bring them up. When you make it to your successful place, remember you didn't get there by yourself. And you didn't get there just to be by yourself.
No, you did not.
That's
no,
right.
You did not. That's it.
That's right.
That's
so
it.
Yeah, I just figured that would be a good way to bring the young ladies through the learning process.
Yeah, I love it. So you do a program, as people saw the video. Leslie is sending you some high fives. and Black 773 over on Instagram is saying beautiful. That was in response to the kit and everything that you have provided. All right. You do a program for people. We saw a piece of it. How do people get in contact with you if they want you to come do a program at their school, at their community center, at their church, wherever?
On my website, there's a contact me, and just set up a 30-minute call and we can talk about what you might want. So what I have other videos. I thought I would show that one because it is Martin Luther King Day this weekend.
Yes.
You can go to YouTube. On my website, you can see some other links to YouTube videos.
Okay.
My program has changed.
Take your time.
My husband died last year as well.
Oh my goodness, Carol.
He's actually my ex-husband, but so I don't have him to do the singing in the program anymore.
Yes, yes.
So I reorganized it for one person, for one lady show. But it could be virtual, it could be live, it could be and so I think I've always envisioned Harriet Tubman being available for interviews. So I'm looking at having people submit questions.
I love that.
And Harriet can address your particular question.
Yeah. Well, I'm here to interview Miss Harriet Tubman. You know that.
So yeah, so just contact me. We can get a call and talk about it and see what you want with workshop. So again, my workshop, it could be virtual or live, where when it could be a one day or a keynote where the people live with the gift box, so they have opportunity to purchase their own, but they really take to heart that self-love is the key
Yes.
to finding your true self, who you are,
Mhm.
remembering that you're a child of God, and that
Mhm.
through that is nothing you can't do.
That's right.
Nothing you can't do. And with that knowledge and that remembering of that, you just know our community, our girls, set the world on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm starting a movement. This movement is Girls United by Love.
Mm.
So one
Mm.
girl at a time, we teach them to love themselves.
Yes.
They will do what they came to do in the world for others and to live their best lives. And
Mm-hmm.
that's going to just continue to grow and grow and grow. And so
That.
we're going to make that happen.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Well, Carol, thank you so, so much for today. We have learned so much. You have shared so much of yourself as well in this journey.
Thank you.
And we appreciate your work. We look forward to more. Let me see here. Dr. Wade has said she's over on the Instagram side. She says, blessings you for your perseverance, persisting to encourage and inspire others despite your own personal hardships. Hashtag Spirit of Harriet.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
And thank
That's,
you, Kathleen. I really appreciate this opportunity to tell Ed hello.
I sure will. I sure will. He was watching for a little while earlier, but I think he had to jump off and get back to work. But I will tell him, and I'm so thankful that he connected us. So,
Yes.
all right, y'all, be on the lookout. Be sure again to go to her website. As I mentioned, I do have her link on my YouTube page, my Ask Dr. Walls 525. For those on Instagram, it is Carol with a K. So that's Karol. Here we go. VBrown.com, so you can see what she is up to, the different events that she'll now those different types of events and things that you'll be doing, will they be listed on your website?
They will be. That's so
Okay.
updated. Yeah.
Okay.
Still working on some things, but uh, one thing I did during the pandemic really quick was able to do a movie of my presentation, um, and add extra stories. And so I want to share that.
Yes.
I want to share that.
Okay. Well,
For
I love the fact that we're in this virtual world because we can always set up a virtual screening and
yes,
do that. All
yes,
right.
yes.
So Edmund comes up with all types of ideas, and between the two of us, we'll have a whole fantastic virtual event. So,
Okay. Beautiful.
all right. Okay, everyone. Well, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day and weekend. Again, Carol, we just thank you for you, period. And we thank you for all that you do for the world. Thank you
Thank
so
you. Thank you so much.
all right. Take care, everyone. As always, God bless and continue to live your greatest life. And I'll see you real soon. Be sure to join us next week because we have the greatest blueprint on Tuesday. And we have Stronger Together with me and Edmund next Thursday. And who knows what else will pop up next week. All right. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.